Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving deep into what I think is a tectonic shift in executive strategy. The focus today is on the AI Leader's Assistant from Winning Team A, and really what the source material tells us about the sheer difficulty of modern leadership.
Exactly.
I mean, this isn't a discussion about better spreadsheets. It's about acknowledging that for any executive, any engineering leader right now, the rate of change is just. It demands confident, complex decisions faster than ever before.
That's the core tension, isn't it? The pace of AI adoption, the need to make these critical strategic calls with what feels like perpetually incomplete information. It simply outpaced the traditional tools that leaders rely on.
Right.
So our mission in this deep dive is to really dissect how this specific solution tries to solve that massive knowledge gap, how it helps leaders move from, relying only on instinct to forming an intelligent partnership with AI.
And that's the most profound insight that runs through all our sources, I think. It's this idea that the future of leadership isn't human versus AI.
No, not a competition.
It's human leadership, human judgment, and vision, but strategically amplified by these intelligence systems.
Amplification,
Mm-hmm.
not replacement. And we really need to clarify what we mean by an AI assistant here.
Good point.
Because if you hear that, you might, default to thinking of a simple chatbot, something that just pulls data or summarizes a document. The sources make it very clear that this AI leader's assistant is fundamentally different. It's designed to be a strategic AI-native thinking partner.
A thinking partner. So it's not just accessing information, it's helping structure the decision itself. How does that actually work? What capabilities are blended together to create that?
This is where it gets really interesting. It blends four pretty distinct capabilities you rarely see in one tool.
Okay.
First, there's a deep AI native engineering understanding. It knows how complex AI systems are built.
Yeah.
Second, it embeds leadership and systems thinking models.
Right.
Third, it applies established strategic planning frameworks.
Mm.
And fourth, and this is critical, it offers empathetic, human-centered coaching.
Wow. That blend suggests the modern leader kind of needs to be a hybrid themselves. Part systems architects, part strategist, part psychologist.
That's a great way to put it. The goal isn't just to get an answer, but to help the leader navigate all that complexity, to turn ambiguity into a clear, executable plan.
And the need is obviously acute. You look at today's workplace, AI systems are embedded everywhere, teams are distributed.
Exactly. And every decision has to balance innovation speed with, say, regulatory compliance and ethical risk. The old models just assumed leaders had time and complete information.
An assumption that is completely gone.
It's gone. Leadership today isn't about having all the answers at the start. It's about asking the right questions faster than the problem is evolving.
So if we agree on that, let's look at where leaders are actually seeing the return. The source material outlines 5 specific applications that shift leaders from being, reactive managers to proactive stewards.
Let's start with the big one, the one that really defines executive success: strategic thinking and decision support.
Okay, but hold on. In a high-pressure environment, couldn't a tool that synthesizes information just become a very expensive checklist? How does it genuinely help a leader make a better decision, not just a faster one?
That's the crucial difference.
Yeah.
A checklist ensures you don't forget steps. This assistant ensures you anticipate consequences.
Ah.
It forces the discussion beyond the immediate build plan and into the deeper why and the what else. It helps you see the downstream impacts and really evaluate trade-offs against the long-term business goals.
Okay, let's use their example. The VP of Engineering in Austin. They're deploying a new AI feature into a sensitive healthcare platform.
Right. If they were just acting on intuition, they'd focus on performance and speed of deployment.
Of course.
But the assistant interjects. It brings in the systemic scope. It explores regulatory constraints like CAPA,
Yeah.
the ethical side of algorithmic bias, the potential impact on customer trust, and how this new data dependency fits into the 3-year product roadmap.
So it surfaces the unknown unknowns.
It tries to, yes. That systemic check is what leads to better decisions and, crucially, much faster executive alignment, because all those difficult questions have already been asked and answered before you even walk into the boardroom.
That makes a lot of sense. So it shifts from managing immediate risk to ensuring long-term systemic safety. This leads perfectly into use case 2, turning vague ideas into executable plans. We've all been in those meetings, right? The founder has this brilliant but totally abstract vision.
Oh, absolutely. That foggy ambition is where time, money, and momentum go to die.
Mhm.
The friction is always in that translation layer between the big idea and the technical action.
So the source mentions a startup founder in San Francisco, the classic, we need to use AI to improve customer experience, but I don't know where to start.
Exactly that.
So how does an intelligent partner handle a truly new idea without just forcing it into some generic template?
It doesn't replace the novelty, it structures the intent. It starts by clarifying the objective. What does better customer experience actually mean in terms of metrics we can track? Then it uses its engineering knowledge to identify, say, 3 high-impact AI use cases that map to those metrics. It outlines a phased roadmap, and it immediately flags the risks.
The efficiency gain there must be staggering.
It is. It takes an idea that would normally require weeks of meetings and turns it into a clear roadmap in, well, a matter of minutes.
That speed to structure is a huge competitive edge. Now, use case 3 is about executive-level communication. Why is that so important in an AI-driven environment?
Because AI projects carry this heavier-than-average burden of proof, there's a trust deficit.
A black box problem.
Exactly. Technical decisions can feel like a black box to the board or even other departments, and misunderstanding breeds resistance, which will kill any project, no matter how good it is. The message is simple. Clarity builds trust, and trust accelerates everything.
And we're not just talking about writing a good email. This is about translating complex architecture into concrete business language. ROI, risk, strategic advantage.
Absolutely. The example of the director of product in New York preparing for a board meeting is perfect. They need to justify millions in AI investment. The assistant helps them refine that ROI message, anticipate the board's concerns like cost or regulation, and helps them craft these confident, concise updates.
It lets the leader deliver conviction, not just information.
Precisely.
Okay, moving on to use case 4. Risk awareness without fear-driven leadership. I find this distinction fascinating because new tech always brings fear. How does this promote awareness instead of just, paralysis?
It promotes proactive risk modeling. It helps leaders spot those unintended consequences early, stress test their own assumptions, and balance innovation with responsibility.
How so?
If a leader makes a major decision, the assistant might immediately provide 3 ways the decision could fail or lead to a negative outcome, forcing them to address those gaps right away.
So it's like a built-in structured devil's advocate. It ensures resilience as part of the initial plan, not an afterthought.
Exactly. Which prevents that costly reputational damage of firefighting later on. And this takes us to the 5th use case, which is maybe the most challenging claim in the whole
I
document.
was waiting for this one.
Empathy, change management, and human leadership.
Okay, this is where I have to pause and challenge this a little. The idea of empathetic, human-centered coaching from an algorithm. That's a massive claim. How can an AI genuinely help a leader communicate something like a major restructure without it feeling hollow and, optimized?
That is a very valid question. And the source material is careful here. It doesn't suggest the AI is the empathetic source. It says the AI is an empathetic sounding board and a structuring tool for the human leader.
I see. So it's a coach for the human.
Right. Leadership is still about people. The assistant helps the leader frame those change messages thoughtfully. It identifies points of anxiety, fear of job displacement, for instance, and helps structure communication to address those concerns directly and proactively.
So it ensures that the people element is factored into the plan, rather than just delivering some corporate speak. The tech moves fast, but the people feel led with understanding.
That's the utility.
Yeah.
It makes sure that team morale and human uncertainty are recognized and integrated into the plan. The leader gets the clarity for the tough decision and the tools to communicate it with empathy.
When you look at all 5 of those, strategy, execution, communication, risk, and empathy, it's clear this is built for the entire spectrum of executive challenges.
Far beyond traditional data analysis.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the architecture. Traditional AI tools answer isolated questions. They have no memory, no context. This has to operate differently.
How is that systemic thinking achieved? What lets it challenge assumptions and act like a true co-pilot for a user who might not be a deep AI expert?
The key is something called agent architecture and orchestration. Think of it not as one big brain, but as a specialized team of internal AI assistants.
Okay, like a committee.
Sort of. One agent handles the technical specs, another handles regulatory constraints, a third handles strategic alignment. The assistant orchestrates these agents to constructively challenge the leader's input and ask clarifying questions.
I like that analogy. It helps demystify some of the jargon, like retrieval augmented generation or RAG, which is basically just allowing the system to pull in deep context before it answers.
Exactly. It's like having a senior AI architect and a trusted advisor working side by side. And to stop the leader from feeling overwhelmed, the whole thing is structured into 5 distinct guided phases. This is what gives them what the source calls structured confidence.
I think walking through those phases is essential. How does it move from an ambiguous thought to a structured action?
The first phase is discovery. This is where it proves it's a thinking partner. It asks probing questions. What's the real goal? Who is the end user? What are the constraints on cost or speed? It turns a vague thought into a structured problem statement.
Then phase 2, system design. This must be where the heavy lifting happens, translating that problem into an actual architecture.
Precisely. And it explains the design using those simple metaphors we talked about. We need 3 specialized AI helpers for this task. It clarifies what each helper does and how quality control will be handled. The leader has to understand why a certain approach was chosen.
Okay, then phase 3 is build options. This seems to be about adapting to the user's technical skill level.
It's all about flexibility. The user can ask for a high-level explanation for a non-technical audience, a detailed step-by-step plan for their engineering team, or even actual code and infrastructure templates if they're technical.
Phase 4, evaluate and improve. This is the quality control that makes it operational.
This is where risk mitigation gets real. It helps the leader define success metrics, provides strategies to reduce incorrect answers or hallucinations, and manage the ongoing cost and speed of the system. It's about moving from a cool prototype to a reliable reality.
And finally, phase 5, executive summary.
A critical accountability step. It auto-generates a final summary that's optimized for a business leader or a board member. It covers the problem, the approach, the risks, and the recommended next steps. It ensures the leader's always ready to communicate the outcome.
So looking across all of this, the fundamental shift is clear. It's a move from reactive firefighting to structured foresight, from intuition alone to insight-driven judgment.
And adopting this kind of tool signals a profound mindset change. The sources say it really powerfully. The best leaders don't outsource their judgment, they amplify it.
And this is where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? Connecting that clear roadmap back to the engineering reality. Because while the assistant provides clarity for the executive, the success of it all hinges on deep technical expertise behind the scenes.
Absolutely. We're talking about true mastery of skills like agent architecture, orchestration, RAG, microservices. The assistant provides the confidence, but the organization still has to master that AI-native paradigm.
You have to blend the cloud-native infrastructure with these new generative model architectures to get real performance gains.
You do.
Which leaves us with the provocative thought for you, the listener. This assistant solves the clarity problem for the leader, helping them ask the right questions and structure the answers. But that scalable engineering challenge, that remains. So what aspect of this necessary collaboration between human judgment, strategic clarity, and scalable AI-native engineering will you prioritize first in your organization to make sure your amplified judgment actually delivers on its promise?